We're like those dancing monkeys in Madagascar. We just move it, move it.
Hmm.
Clearly, you guys aren't Madagascar fans, or
Love that movie. No, that's adorable.
you would have told me
We're like
those were
those
monkeys.
dancing monkeys in
Those
Madagascar.
are
We
not
just move it,
monkeys.
move
Those are
it.
lemurs.
The
Speaking of,
lemur. Lemur.
what are your wins, celebrations, something you're proud of?
I opened escrow. I think I said that yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Another girl on my team who I've been helping, she opened escrow on the same day. So I was happy about that.
I had another seller just call me, so hoping to get list his home. He's thinking about selling or renting, and he keeps calling me and not the property manager.
I got a referral yesterday.
Look at all this amazing stuff going on. I love it. I love it. I was able to get one of our big listings under contract last night using
Nice.
the tactics that we talk about. Hey, thank you for your offer. Oof, $100,000 off. That's a big jump. What can we do? And then the buyer's agent just melted and gave me away the buyer's ultimate position. These things work, my friends. I'm telling you. Pick up the phone, have a conversation. All right. So, what situations, topics, objections you guys want to work on today? Make yourselves better, stronger, and more able to go into battle this weekend to become successful real estate agents.
I had disgruntled clients, and I went in and tidied up the house, vacuumed the floor to where it can look nice. And I guess they have a camera in there, and I don't know if that's why they called me, but I let them know that I'm concerned about their concerns and wanted to um, just make everything right. So the guy thought that I called the home warranty for their roof, and I didn't. He said somebody called him for his home warranty, and they thought I did, and was wondering why did I do that. So
That's weird.
yeah.
Yeah, usually when you're either helping a seller out, they don't get super twisted on you. You're kind of there to help them navigate the deal and make the house look good. Good for you. But just continue conversation with them. Tell them, love on them from a distance.
Mhm.
So disgruntled usually means that the communication didn't anchor. Like there was something that was amiss. So we can just work on that and, ask questions and listen,
Mhm.
which I know you're really good at. So keep that up.
Okay.
This is the time where you guys get to work on things. So what is it? What is the situation? What's the topic? I saw a TikTok video this morning that actually aggravated me. It was a kid, guy, dude, whatever. It's all I can see is three-quarters of his head and shoulder. Saying if you've got a real estate agent or someone else in your life right now telling you not to buy a house or that now is the time to buy a house, don't do it.
Hmm.
Okay. And then he goes to say, in 2008, if you bought a house, it took you nearly 11 years before the house was able to be sold for the price that you bought it for. However, if you bought it in 2011, at the same time as 2017, 18, you would have been able to sell it for double what you paid.
Hmm.
And that's a really good representation of value over time, but the reality there is what caused the 2008 increase?
The garage.
The garage?
No.
The crash.
Well, how can a crash increase prices?
Is that the phony loans that they allow people to get?
Phony loans. Anyone ever seen the movie The Big Short?
Some of it.
It's a great educational movie.
It really is. I mean, it's definitely more satirical than anything, but it does educate what happened during that big boom, the crisis. one of the most iconic scenes of that movie, or most memorable scenes of that movie, is they go and these investment bankers, or these I don't know what you call them, these stockbrokers that are trying to short this mortgage thing, go and do some field research, and they're driving around with a realtor, and this realtor is showing them all kinds of houses and saying, well, they bought that house last year for this much, and they would just love to get an offer, and they would love to get it sold, and they'll pretty much sell it for anything. And oh, this house is for sale because that one lost their job, and just going down the whole block, and the entire neighborhood is just foreclosure, foreclosure, foreclosure. But what's funny is they get to one scene where they're just knocking on doors, and they say, "Hey, can I talk to Mr. Honeywinks or whatever the name is?" And the tenant goes, "You want to talk to my landlord's dog?" The funny thing about that is it's real. It's because people back in 2006 to 2008 were taking out loans, what they called stated income loans, that weren't real. No verifiable income. Most of it wasn't even put on, a real person.
Wow.
The two loan officers in this movie that are, positioned as being just bros, or laughing about, I go after, minorities, and I go after bad credit scores because they don't know better. They'll sign anything.
Hmm.
That is what created the huge influx in sales, is because people were out there buying houses. They were buying houses they shouldn't have bought, and they were just, throwing money at it because who cares? I'm not paying the bills. I'm going to get a house. I'm going to get it rented. I'm going to collect the rent. If they take the house away, it's my dog's credit. So yeah, of course, in 2008, you could have bought a house for $300,000 that you couldn't have sold for 11 years to make profit, because so many people were taking advantage of those phony loanies. Now let's fast forward to now, 2025, 17 years later. What's changed?
Way more lending scrutinization.
Way more. Can your dog get a loan now?
No.
Your dog
You
can't
can barely
even
get a loan now.
now. Okay. Don't even bring the dog to the appointment. It's not going to get you anywhere. But what is driving home values now?
Supply and demand. I'm going to stop answering.
All right. I hope you guys are listening, because I know there's a couple of you on here that know the answers, and you can reiterate that and have that communication very clearly with your clients. The rest of you need to. You should be able to educate the people you're dealing with as to why it's a good time or a bad time. If it was such a bad time to buy a house, why are we still selling 4.6 million homes a year? Because no matter how bad the market is or isn't, people they need to move, they need to upsize, they need to downsize. It's lifestyle over logic. But if someone's to say, well, let's just wait because here's all the indications of a crash. Here's all the indicating factors of a crash. And in 2008, we saw a market correction where people were buying houses for a third of what they sold for 2 years prior. In 2010 and 2011, you were gangbusters. My dad was part of it. My dad bought a house for $495,000 in 2008. 2007, actually. And in 2009, short sold that house for $272,000. So yeah, he took a bath on it, nearly 50% of the value. But is that going to happen today? You're telling me that for it to become a good time to buy, I should wait until we start seeing 50% valuations on year-over-year homes? How is that possible when nearly 60% of the houses in America have what they call serious equity, substantial levels of equity, 50% or more, meaning that 60% of the homes on the market, it's not on the market, 60% of the homes in the United States are either paid off or have more than 50% equity. I don't think you can compare the two cycles. I don't think you can go back and say 2008, watch the signs. Oh, the chicken's running, the sky is falling. That's not real. There was a lot that went into the collapse of the housing market. A lot. And there's a lot of things they hid, a lot of things they didn't scrutinize that they now are. And if you haven't watched The Big Short, go watch it. It is educational. It's entertaining too, but it is very educational to show you that shit gets wild and the government kind of hides it. But you as a real estate professional need to understand, what does it mean for your consumers? Got a client, bought a house in 2010. Is it going to be worth more in 2020? Absolutely. Got a client, bought a house in 2020. Does it mean it's going to be worth more than today? Maybe. But if we see an average appreciation of 3 to 4% in real estate year over year, we go back 70 years and we start the value there. We do a 4% gain year over year. We are still just slightly below the trend line where it should be. So let's talk about the factors involved in order for the real estate market to crash, where you're buying houses back again for 50% of what they sold for 2 years prior. Do we see income coming down? Do you think they're going to change the minimum wage back to $7.15 an hour?
Oh,
No.
wait.
No, because once McDonald's workers make $15 an hour, they're staying there. Now everything else just follows suit.
I mean, Lydia had a great story the other day where their buyer was making $1.13.
He was making $1.13 and bought his car for $14.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's not going down.
Yeah. Well, there's one factor. We're going to have to see income greatly shrink for pricing to go back. Okay. Who's
Or if income doesn't shrink, high job loss.
Yeah, high
Which is
job.
probably more typical than an income shrinkage.
Yeah, but we'd have to see a 40% unemployment rate.
12.
We're at 4.
No, we need to see 12.
Yeah, we're at 4.3%.
Yeah.
4.3%. 3 times the unemployment. Do we hit that during COVID?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But even then, were people buying and selling?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I remember March of 2020, they're going, oh my God, it's going to be so hard for real estate agents because of COVID. And man, the market's going to be tough. It's going to be hard to find clients. No, it was hard to find paper to write their names down because everyone was saying, I want to buy something. I want to sell something. I want to get moving. So back to my initial rant. Somebody says it's not a good time to buy. My question is, why will you? Why will you buy? Why will you sell? What is the motivating factor? If you're doing it purely for an investment, probably not the right time. But if you're doing it for a lifestyle improvement or a lifestyle adjustment, then it's just a factor of why. Lifestyle over logic, my friends. It does not matter how bad or good the market is. If people have a need, we solve the need. But we communicate. This may not be the best idea for you. This may not be the best course of action. Why are you thinking about doing it? So when you see those posts like, oh, you real estate agents are lying to people, telling them it's a good time to buy, it should make you mad. We are highly trained, highly capable fiduciary agents. We're not used car salesmen that are just paid a bonus to get the ugliest, oldest car off the lot. We're here to help solve a need. So, do you feel a little bit better articulating the differences between the market crash of 2008 and what potential crashes we may see now? Yeah, if we see a crash now, we're talking 10 to 15% valuation change. Aren't we seeing that already? Houses listed at 400, selling for 360. Right?
Yeah.
House listed for 1.2 million, under contract at 1.5. 1.1 right? $150,000 change. Isn't that right around 10%?
Mm-hmm.
A 10% change in pricing is fantastic. It sets us back a little bit, but it puts us on trend. Well, Dan, interest rates are higher than they've ever been. No, they're not. Interest rates are right where they were back in 2000. My first house I bought in 2009 at a 4.75% interest rate. And that was the best rate they'd ever seen back then. Oh, forgive me, no, it was 5.25, and I refinanced it the next year for 4.75.
My favorite is, well, 1984, you could buy a house for $82,000 and interest rates were 13%, but it's like, they're like, it was way more affordable back then. It's like, well, minimum wage was also $1.75.
Yeah. Anthony, you fingered us twice. What you got?
Yeah, so I read an article yesterday or the day before. Interest rates are expected to drop or something like that. I don't remember. I clicked on it, and it's talking about forecasting, and in the middle, it starts talking about maybe next year under 6%.
Yeah.
So you could find articles on both sides. However, I want to ask a question about that. If interest rates would drop under 6, what do you guys think would happen? Just looking from a hypothetical, from a trend standpoint.
You get 40% more buyers.
Yeah.
And what happens to prices?
They go up, supply and demand. It's like that lady during Thanksgiving. I got hogs, dogs, rams, potatoes, tomatoes, right? People are out there just selling shit. Like, hey, there are 50 buyers for this one house. The sellers all let the auction begin. So like we talked about, was it Monday or yesterday? I don't know when we talked about it. We talked about, hey, go out there and incentivize people. If they have a need, now is the time to take advantage of the situation. Because if a seller's got 2 or 3 buyers on a property, are they going to be very motivated to say, yeah, I'll take $100,000 discount? Or they'd be like, you know what? Let's see what the other person says first.
Mhm.
If rates go sub 6%, great. Get ahead of it. If you can afford the payment at 7% on a house that you love in a neighborhood you like, and it's going to help bolster or improve upon your lifestyle, what are you waiting for? There are people out there right now that waited to buy a house in 2019, waited for the market to come down.
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there in 2022 that waited for the rate to continue to go down.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of people. I'm not buying at 4%. I'll wait till it goes back to 3. Whoops.
man.
In 1986, the average individual the average individual income was $17,000 a year. Increased in 2020 to $41,000 a year. The median household income back then was $24,000 a year, when now it's $80,000. So, Jim, what'd you say you could buy a house for back in the 80s?
I don't know, probably around here, probably 80 grand or so.
So 4 times that, right? $320,000. Does that get you anything now?
No.
In Elk Grove, Sacramento? No, you're like still double that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could say progressively in scale, it is more expensive now than it ever has been. Housing has become more of a monthly expense in regard to the percentage of overall income than it was back in the 80s. Absolutely. And that's unfair, but that's life.
Mhm.
Somebody somewhere said, hey, we can make mortgages expensive. We can make houses expensive. You know, we can make money on bricks and sticks. It became one of those expensive items. Housing became a luxury for some people. For others, a necessity. we're not out there waiting for people that might or might not buy. We're out there looking for people who need. They need to make a move. And sometimes that need shows up as, you know what, if it makes sense, we'd make it happen, we would do it. But deep down, it's like, you know what, mom's getting older, dad's getting older. We want to buy a piece of land and build a compound so that we can have everybody together, so that we can help take care of mom and dad. Has anyone ever shopped the cost of putting someone into a terminal care facility?
Like 10,000 a month or something.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Pay me $10,000 a month. You can live in my spare bedroom, and I swear I won't beat you at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you'll probably have better food.
Those places are so sad.
But that's the thing, is people do it all the time. And there are people out there without families that just say, you know what, I got nothing else going on. I don't want to take care of myself. I'm worried about dying alone and slipping and falling. So I'm going to sell my house and cash out this $300,000 in equity and pay $20,000 a month for the next 3 years to live at, Bashes in the Oaks, where I get 3 squares and a cot. It's almost better to go to prison.
Which also probably costs more money. That just costs taxpayers $10,000 a month.
I'm just saying, it doesn't cost me nothing.
Some of those places are really luxury and nice.
Some of them, Rachel, but there's a stereotype for a reason. I love how Rachel's always the sound voice of, she's like, guys, it's not all bad. I love
Are
that.
we talking about elder care facilities or prison? Well, I don't know which one Rachel's got experience with.
Assisted living. I just spoke with a lady last week. It was funny. It was a call. It was actually a win. And she called me on accident and I called her back or she didn't, it was a wrong number. And I started talking to her. She's like, why would I call you? What business do you do? And I told her real estate, and she gave me a lead to her daughter. But she's in an assisted living facility, and she's selling her house to pay, but she was swearing about how wonderful it is and it's a luxury. And actually, I know a lot of people who are in the assisted living business that they own and invest in it, and they're not, and not all of them are horrible, especially here in California. But I mean, I hear that there's apparently a lot are.
A lot are. But
They're expensive.
anyways, it goes back to the conversation of motivation. Why? Why are you buying? Why are you selling? Does it make sense? Be okay telling them, no, it doesn't make sense for you to buy or sell right now. Here is what you gain to lose or potential downside to this decision. That is your fiduciary responsibility, is to put their interests above your own.
Mm-hmm.
And your interest is to getting paid. I get it. And some of us need a paycheck. However, not at the detriment of somebody else's financial well-being.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, tell them it doesn't make sense. Hell, maybe the situation they're in now doesn't make sense to stay there. How many of us know a sweet old lady that's a widow that's living in a house that's 7 times too big? My mom, she's not a widow, thank God. She's divorced. Probably the best thing she ever did. But she was living in a 5-bedroom, 2-story house. Like almost a 3,000 square foot home. Most of you don't know how big my mom is. Compared to me, my mom is a third my size. She's like 4 foot nothing and 100 pounds. She's actually 5'2" and 130 pounds, but she's tiny to me. She doesn't need that big of a house. I'm pretty sure she gets lost in that big of a house. So I had a conversation with her mom. It doesn't make any sense for you to live here anymore. Plus, it's stairs. She fell down the freaking stairs and broke her neck. Like, no, thank you. No more stairs.
So sad.
But that was the thing, is like, Mom, I know it doesn't make sense for you to move because you're going to be moving into a house that's smaller, that costs the same, but you're going to do it so that you can live in that home longer. You're going to do it so that you're closer to family. You're going to do it so that you have something that provides you more independence long term. Yeah, it didn't make sense on paper to buy and sell. It didn't. Why would she sell a house that she's got a 2 nothing rate with sub 3%? She's paying $1,100 a month in all total, like taxes, insurance, and utilities, to move into a house she's paying $2,200 a month for. I was like, Mom, what's the cost to you living on your own? What's the cost to you not being in a care facility? Right? It didn't make sense on paper, but it made sense for her lifestyle. And then miraculously, we found a way for her to keep her other house. We rented it out, and now she's paying $900 a month to live. So we saved her $200. But we were prepared for her to pay an additional $1,000 a month to live so that she could have the independence and grace and be in a safe neighborhood. Guys, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be on paper a good decision, because it's not always about logic. Sometimes it's about the lifestyle that comes along with the decision. So be capable of having that conversation. Be knowledgeable enough to know what factors play into the market changes. If rates go down, expect this to happen. If rates go up, expect this to happen. If inventory goes down, expect this to happen. It's all basic economy. Economics 101, supply and demand. You've got more demand than supply, prices go up. If you've got more supply than demand, the alternative happens. Pretty simple. But it always anchors down to motive. What is the reason behind the need? And if it makes sense, help them find a way. If it doesn't, educate them along the way. Did you learn something today?
Yes.
Who's going to watch The Big Short now?
Me.
I am 100%.
Weekend.
My favorite movies.
I think it's on Netflix. I don't know. I just watched it again 2 weekends ago. And my son came in and goes, "This movie's boring."
After you watch Big Short, watch Boiler Room.
I was like, "Bubba, this movie paid for this house. All right, get out of here." So
Watch what? What,
Boiler
Jim?
Room.
Boiler Room. Yeah.
It's just going to make you hate stockbrokers even more.
Yes. But it's still good. Same principle.
All right, my friends, have a fantastic Thursday. I'll see you guys in the morning. KWSA agents, if you want to join us for the broker roundtable here at 9 o'clock, all agents are welcome. It's for your education. Link is kcntraining.com. kcntraining.com.